of the SHOP Advisory Committee for Access Health Connecticut. I'd like to remind everybody to give their name the first time they speak so we can identify them, their voices. And with that said, can we have a roll call for attendance?
Yes, Graham Ritter,
Here.
Pamela Rosick, Matthew Katz,
Here.
Paul Philpott, Kevin Galvin, Mr. Galvin, I believe, joined, but we'll double check later. Alan Skinner, Charlie Sweet, Paul Lombardo,
Here.
and Christopher McKiernan.
Here.
Thank you.
It looks like Kevin is here. He just didn't speak up, but
Yes, that's correct.
yeah, okay. All right. Is there any public comment?
There's no public comment, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll move on. Next, I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
This is Matt Katz. I move to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Thank you. Second, anybody? Anybody votes?
I think we need a second so we can vote.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Christopher. So is there any edits, discussion, comments, clarifications?
This is Matt Katz. If I might, in the minutes, we did indicate that we'd be getting some materials and some updates on some with a little more detail on the penetration of the various products. And I don't believe I saw that between the last meeting and this meeting.
So Matt, I thought we were going to basically give them up on our presentation, which is going to be coming up in September, early September, to go over the additional penetration of the groups by CITES code and just employer groups themselves and sizes and counties and all that stuff. So we wanted to kind of, do it all there. Are you looking for it outside of the meeting?
No, that's okay. I think that as long as we have it, I'm fine, and September's a good time. I had just expected it after, but September is fine.
Apologize about the misunderstanding. We just want to make sure that we're going to give a full 1 year's worth of data, but make sure with the new platform and all that, we're able to give you guys all the information, all the demographics, and we're really going to be breaking down all the way to nuts and bolts of everything. So it's probably going to be more information than you want, but from there you can kind of peel it apart and go from there.
Thank you, John. That's more than sufficient. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Okay, any other comments? If not, could we have a roll call vote on accepting?
Graham Ritter,
Yes, accept.
Pamela Rosick.
Accept.
Thank you. Matthew Katz,
Accept.
Kevin Galvin, Alan Skinner, Shelley Sweet, Paul Philpott, and Christopher McKiernan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the minutes are accepted. Thanks. Now let's turn it over to John to talk about the filing overview for 2023.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. Really quickly, we're just going to go over very, very high level on the 2023 rate filings for small group. Just give some on exchange, some numbers and some parameters. I want to make it very clear that these are preliminary numbers. Paul and the team has to go through all their fine-tuned underwriting and all that, so these numbers can change. I just want to make that very clear on that. Then after I pretty much present that information, Ben from Mitz and Hoke is going to go through our marketing campaign recap. Now, please understand what Ben is basically going to be doing is kind of throwing out the ideas and the things that we are kicking around and hopefully getting some feedback from the team here to basically say, hey, we like this, we don't like this, maybe, make some suggestions on things we want to do. We want your input before we finalize anything. I think it's important. Last time we did this, we heard you loud and clear that you like to be brought into the process. So we're bringing you into the process before we formalize it. Even if you don't have any suggestions at the moment or on this call, because you haven't had an opportunity to go through the deck, please don't hesitate to reach out to the team after the meeting. We'll be more than happy to take all this, experience that's on this call and be able to kind of see if we can continue to move the ball forward for our small group platform. With that being said, as you guys know, in July, the rates were filed for small group on exchange. That's all I'm really going to talk about. We do have the Department of Insurance has the rate filing grid on their site. I can ask Marchant to send it around. It talks about the on exchange individual, the small group, on exchange and off exchange, and then also a little bit of an off exchange product on the individual side. But for Anthem, for the 2023 preliminary rate filings, their average increase is going to be about 3.6%. The range is actually going to be negative 1.2% all the way out to 26.3%. And Connecticut Benefit Inc. is currently right now going to be averaging about a 23% increase preliminary right now, but their range is from 20% to about 28.9%. The one thing that we have seen year over year is the small group membership continues to decline in this sector. Last year it was about 106 to about 108,000 members in this pool. There's about 93,000 currently right now. There's multiple factors on this. There is one less carrier in the marketplace. That carrier had about 8,800 members. Those members still need to go into different buckets throughout the year. And as that company starts those memberships, those contracts start going off into other carriers, that number can dramatically change. So the small group market, as you know, has always constantly over the past 2-3 years have been battling with self-funded products out there, but also too, the American Rescue Plan Act has also made it extremely competitive for small groups to look at the individual side. The team is, tasked with making sure that we find the best fit for our employer, regardless if it's in the small group platform or in the individual platform. Our mission statement is to lower the uninsured rate here in the state of Connecticut, regardless of where these individuals are going. Our team has written probably a couple of thousand members onto the individual side over the past couple of years. We continue to find the best fit for them because as an employer, we want to make sure they can keep as much money in their pocket so they can keep the lights on, their employees working, everybody happy, especially during the COVID process. And as we tail off and start spinning into the new norm. So with that currently, as we currently continue to do that, you'll kind of see some of the marketing tactics that we're looking to go through. Ben is going to definitely talk about that. But our main theory, our main theme, which we'll see throughout this presentation, is going to be lead gen. That's what we're really going to be super focused on. Mince has done a great job with branding for us, getting us out there, getting our name out there, getting us in front of other unique individuals and unique segments, and then also too us partnering up with our health and equity team to get out there and make sure that we can be in all different types of communities and be approachable and make sure we can be a good resource and a good community partner to everybody and make sure they understand we're a trusted advisor and we're to help as much as we possibly can. With that being said, I'm going to pause and see if anybody has any questions.
John, I have one quick question.
Sure.
This is Matt Katz. I'm sorry, I didn't identify myself initially. You had given appropriately the ranges for Anthem and Connecticut on the impact, and I appreciate that. Do we have like an average for the on-exchange business across all of that? Because I know that that's, obviously we have one insurer that's got more business than the other. And those percentages vary. So is there an average for the entire exchange that we're looking at right now?
So here's the thing. The only thing I could do is break it down by carrier. Right now, Connecticut does have more membership than Anthem, but Anthem's average rate increase for the on-exchange products for their 5 plans is going to be 3.6%. All right, and Connecticut Benefit Inc. is going to be 22.9%. But again, Matt, those are preliminary until Paul and his team go through all the necessary underwriting and hearings and meetings with the carriers. Those right now are the preliminary numbers. Those could significantly change, but
no, that's helpful. That's very good. it may be, because there's so many things out there as to what the rates are, not only now, but when they're finalized. Having
Yeah.
that kind of average may help people, because 29% may scare people away. Even a 1.2 to 2.26 may scare people, but having, what more of the average is on exchange, especially if it's lower than the off exchange or equal, would be a helpful way of presenting it.
If I had to look at the off exchange right now very quickly, I didn't do a lot of studying on it, but just looking at the rate grid that was provided, Oxford Health Insurance is kind of the lowest at a 13.4%, and it can go all the way as high as 29.3%. And that's the off exchange number. So as you can see, that our numbers are getting kind of really close, and we're kind of getting in a little bit more in alignment with kind of some of the off exchange stuff. But again, we're super focused on making sure individuals have the right coverage, just not a small group coverage. And we just want to, if they're a good fit in our small group bucket, we want to point them in there. But if they're a good fit on the individual side, we want to make sure they can get all those premium tax credits and help that employer keep as much money in their pocket too. So we'll keep you guys in the loop on that. What I can't talk about, we're averaging right now in our fourth quarter with Anthem about a 9% increase on all our renewals and about a 21% increase with Connecticut renewals. To give you a little bit of heads up though, our retention right now for that right now is trending at 90%. So regardless of where these numbers are going, we're still retaining the business and renewing it. Probably I would have to say, if I'd say that 10%, probably half of it is probably going to the individual market. The other half is probably going to another lower option out there. Our plans are pretty much in the middle of the pack this year.
And John, do we track where they go after they leave us?
We try to get as much information we can from the broker. Our client relationship managers do ask. We tend not to get that information. It's just always been a thing in the Connecticut marketplace. Some brokers are very kind of forthcoming with their information, or to say, hey, they've gone to Cigna, Oxford, it's a lower cost plan. The deductible is a lot higher, but they're just looking at price point, or, we just don't get anything except a termination letter and we have to move forward from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, if there's no other questions, I'm going to turn this over to Ben. Please don't hesitate to jump in and ask Ben any questions, but Ben, take it away, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, John, and thank you everybody for your time today. If we could actually jump back to the previous slide, I just want to maybe start there quickly. Perfect. Thank you so much. So as John mentioned, right now we're really in the planning phases for the marketing campaign for 2023. So today, we'd really like to talk through last year just as a high-level recap and talk about what the focus was, what the creative campaign looked like, and then spend the majority of time talking through a few creative directions with you that we've developed so far and are still exploring. As John mentioned, we really would love to get your input, and feel free to ask questions throughout as well. So, just to start from at a high level with the marketing campaign that has been in market most recently, it's been, as John mentioned, more focused on the branding and awareness of Access Health CT small business, really laying a foundation through a mix of paid, earned, and owned and shared media. So
Did we lose Ben?
We might have.
No, I'm here.
Wait a minute, he's coming back.
There
sorry, I
you are,
lost
Ben.
you there.
We lost
got
him.
Where did I
over-
drop off?
Oh, sorry,
John.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, Ben, are you back? John, is Ben back? Or am I missing?
Yes, Ben's back.
So it's not just me. Okay,
I'm here. Sorry about that. Did I lose everybody?
we're good.
Okay, so the campaign messaging theme last year was coming together, and it was really centered around the small business team out in the community. Again, as John mentioned,
Did we lose Ben again, or is it just me?
Yeah, no, we lost him again. Oh, here he is. He's back. Ben, if you can hear me, try
Can
using
everybody
your
hear me?
phone to talk.
Yeah, now we
Try
can hear you
using your
better.
phone to talk and, the video to watch.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, Ben. I'm going to text him and tell him to call in.
Yeah.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
Ben,
got
we
you,
can hear
Ben.
you.
Yeah.
No
Yes, we
video.
can.
Okay,
Ben.
sorry about that, everybody. Looks like I'm having some technical issues over here with my computer, so I'm on mobile now. Let me jump back in. Apologize for jumping in and out there. So just again, quickly to recap, the creative approach for last year has been more about coming together, centered around the team out in the community, being seen as a trusted advisor, approachable, and a solid resource for small business owners and brokers. So we can jump to the next slide quickly. So this is really just a creative snapshot from last year. As you can see, that campaign theme of the team out in the community through a mix of media, whether that's earned media, community outreach activations, traditional media, paid media, and social media. So really a full campaign dedicated to really highlighting the work that the team is doing out in the community. For this year, we, as John mentioned, really are working to shift the focus to be a little bit more centered around lead generation and growing membership. So if we can jump to the next slide, I want to touch on just a couple themes that are going to be our focus for this year. So as I mentioned, and as John kind of alluded to, our efforts and our focus is going to be really around lead generation, whereas the past couple of years have been focused around brand building and establishing awareness in the market as for Access LCT small business. So we're going to have our continued core foundational owned tactics, such as the website, email campaigns, collateral materials that are needed. We're going to have an earned media presence to try to secure coverage in publications and with media partners. Shared media being social media, and continuing to grow followership there. And of course, paid media elements that are built into the plan. But we've also outlined a number of new opportunities for each of those channels, as well as some additional tactical ideas and evolved messaging and creative approaches. These creative approaches, these are the three that I'm going to be talking through in a second, are more call to action oriented intentionally. They're meant to really simulate a further conversation with the team and drive more potential leads into the group for growing membership. So there's three overall themes that we see as incorporating into marketing this year as we transition from some of these more awareness and big reach type of items such as billboards and outdoor and print and TV. We're looking to really explore some new digital partnerships, activations with community groups, and really grow outside of that following that we've established to date. So, and one of the things that we see as a really good opportunity is to try to reach business owners more on their level. And there's a couple different tactics that we've started to explore that we think can do that. So again, this means just a transition from what we've done previously that is more broader in reach, awareness type tactics, and going a little bit of a level deeper on targeting. We're going to continuously evaluate the geographies that we are focused on, the industries that we're focused on, and look at that on a month-to-month basis to optimize our performance throughout the campaign. So that's one of the first themes for the year. The second one being one of the biggest sources for leads is going to be through advocacy, through our existing community. So referrals can be a massive piece of this. So we've been able to incorporate some testimonials here and there over the past year or so. And this is an area that we'd really like to lean in more over the next year. Business owners really want to hear from other business owners. And we think that that can be an advantage to really, talking about the great experience that they have had with the team and the success that they've had in providing health insurance for their employees. It's one thing, of course, for an organization to say it, but there's a level of confidence and reassurance that can come from another business owner that is faced with the similar challenges that can play an added role in communications. And then the third theme that I wanted to hit on was just that we want to be more feet on the street to drive leads and meet these business owners where they are. That means that there's going to be amplified focus on identifying unique opportunities like business expos, job fairs, other community events that give the team the opportunity to have these conversations and drive leads. We're looking at other physical opportunities such as radio villages, networking functions, partnering with others to potentially create some unique events, all really trying to, now that we are emerging from a very virtual environment and people are more excited to do things out in the communities directly hand in hand with outreach. I think there's a lot of opportunity to get some feet on the street and create some of these conversations and drive leads into the team. So those are a few of our foundational themes, I'll call them, for the next year as we're looking to evolve the campaign. Any questions on those? Okay, so we can jump to the next slide. So this is just a snapshot of, I mentioned before, we have incorporated testimonials over the past year or so. We worked with WNPR on a campaign where we had some existing clients, business owners that were interviewed about their experience, their choice to work with the team and get health insurance for their employees. And I think this kind of goes along with the lines of what I was mentioning with testimonials and the role that they can play. There's a power to some of the words and phrases that they're using in some of these comments there, and there's themes. They're different business owners across different industries that have different situations, but some of the themes that we can see in some of these comments are retention being a huge thing for business owners, growing the business long term, ability to open up to new talent, and this responsibility and duty that they have as a business owner to provide health insurance for their employees. So I think we just wanted to pop this up really quickly to show how these business owners that we work with can also be our biggest ally, and this can play a significant role in our communications as we're looking to infuse more of these testimonials and real experiences into the campaign. So it has fed into some of our creative angles that we're exploring, but also some of the tactical ideas that we're working with the team on as well. Jump to the next slide. Okay, so the next few slides, I'm going to just talk through the 3 different approaches from a creative and messaging, and that are all based on our goals and our focus for this year. So jumping on the next slide, I'm going to read through just a general description for each of the 3 campaigns. And then what we've done following that is I'll show an example of a banner ad display that this campaign is going to have a heavy digital presence, just given the lead generation focus this year. But keep in mind, this will also be developed for a number of different materials. It'll be a consistent anchor of all of our creative work and all of our communications. It'll be an overarching theme. So would love to hear any feedback and any input you might have on these 3 different directions. So if we want to jump to the next slide, I'll read through it quickly. So the first potential angle and that we've been exploring is called "Don't Take Our Word for It." And I'll read through this briefly. In the past, we've gotten business owners to notice Access LT's CT small business, but this year we need them to trust us. So rather than talking to our audience, we'll give the spotlight to someone else to speak on our behalf. In this campaign, we unabashedly put real customer testimonials front and center and make it clear that not only that Access Health CT can be trusted, but other CT businesses are already on board and benefiting from the partnership. So if we want to jump to the next slide. Client testimonials are going to be incentivized with that free publicity of having their business name and their quote on the campaign materials. So they also get a lot of publicity out of this as well. So that's an added benefit and opportunity for them to partner with us in communicating how they feel about working with the team. We think cherry-picked quotes from some of the more well-known customers across the state might also help in getting some of the most public and wide-reaching media placements for the best recognition potential. So we see that as a potential opportunity as well. We definitely want to show a range of businesses, industries, geographies throughout the state to make sure that we have a full representation of the types of businesses and business owners that the team is working with. And then the next slide has, as I mentioned, an example of a banner ad, what this might look like in the campaign. So this is just a sample quote. Of course, we need to work in partnership with a lot of these businesses to have some discussions and some interviews and learn a little bit about some points of differentiation for them and what we can convey to other prospects through digital advertising and other advertising to showcase that experience. So this will feature quotes from clients directly, and it'll click through to a landing page where visitors will be able to view a client video series where we're highlighting some video about directly with these conversations with these business owners, other testimonial videos, and a simple lead gen form to encourage people to sign up to submit their information to get some more information about different options that they have. One of the things that you'll see throughout on these 3 different opportunities is we are exploring a fulfillment page, a landing page that is dedicated to the campaign that can be consistent in the visual experience and the overall experience they have with the brand. There will still be the overall website where they can access more information, but the idea behind a fulfillment page for the campaign is to be a little more lead centric and try to drive people to immediately processing their information so that the team can work with them on figuring out the best solution for their business and their needs. So the next idea is we're calling Covering Connecticut Together. So to drive urgency and ultimately leads, we need to inject more gravitas into this year's message. We need to make the audience feel like they're being called to aid something bigger than themselves or even their business. So with almost 200,000 uninsured CT residents, Access Health CT, together with business owners, are in a unique position to take large chunks out of this number, potentially 50 members at a time, 50 employees at a time. This campaign rallies Connecticut business owners to a higher call, one that gives them the opportunity to be a part of something bigger, improving their business and community at the same time. Jump to the next slide. So this we're really seeing as a call to arms, a really powerful message for currently uninsured Connecticut small businesses that highlights the number of uninsured people in the state and the unique opportunity that they have to play a part in reducing it. This number, I'll just call out really quickly, has been pulled from census data, and this is a number we would, of course, finalize with the team, but census data from a couple of years ago. So just wanted to call that out as it has that 200,000 number. One of the things we can do, too, is we keep a running tally of new group plans that have been activated during this time. So tracking and updating their impact of the campaign and of the team over the course of the campaign and giving tangible goals that we can all rally behind is the idea behind this one. And as you can see with the banner ad example on this slide, and just to touch on what we're looking at here, this would be an animated display ad where we're looking at 4 different slides. So, for instance, the first slide might say over 200,000 CT residents are uninsured. The next one might animate over to, and small business owners are in a unique position to protect Connecticut. And it's really, as you saw on the previous slide, a direct call to arms for these small business owners, and saying that they can play a significant role in reducing this number. And it's really consistent with the overall mission of the organization to really focus on reducing the number of uninsured throughout the state. So just read through the top, the banners will really call attention to the unique position that small business owners are in to help the state and the responsibility and duty they have to help their own employees. Banners will click to a dedicated landing page where they're met with engaging infographic information about the need for coverage and also the benefits to small businesses who offer group health insurance. We also, of course, are going to have a lead gen form on any of these pages, whichever direction that we go. And as that campaign makes an impact, as I mentioned before, we can track the progress on the landing page as well and seeing how many new groups have enrolled. I'll pause quickly. Any questions? I ran through those first 2. There is a third one that I can talk through, but any questions before I jump to this one? And then, of course, we can take questions then as well.
I think it'd be good to hear all 3 and then open it up.
Sure.
For...
Absolutely. Okay, so the third direction that we have is called No More Beating Around the Bush. So this year, we think, given the lead generation focus, we need to be a little bit more blunt. Offering health insurance to employees is no longer just good for your business or employees. It's basically mandatory for any hope of attracting and retaining top talent. This campaign unapologetically makes this message loud and clear for any Connecticut small business owners who might still be sleeping on getting group health insurance. So over the past year, we've talked a lot about, we've developed thought leadership and other materials that talk about the benefits of providing health insurance for employers. And this is taking that and amplifying it even more and being a little bit more direct towards those business owners with this approach. So again, the messaging is going to be a blunt wake-up call. That's our goal of this one, to any Connecticut businesses still are not offering health insurance benefits to employees. And we attack our traditional media hard, targeting small business owners with that blunt, direct messaging that is going to be hard to miss. So here's an example again of another display banner ad. So the line in this one is, quality employees are hard to find. Show them they're valued. Quality, affordable group health insurance. Get more value for your small business. So this is really hitting directly at that small business owners and trying to, convey some of those points that we know are, challenges for them in finding quality employees and retaining them. As we saw with some of those quotes up front, they're faced with similar types of challenges, and we need to really communicate how, this providing health insurance for your employees can play a significant role in addressing some of those challenges from an employment and retention perspective. So we figured that this campaign will have very blunt messaging that hits on the importance and benefits of offering health insurance. Again, same overview, that it'll be directed towards the landing page with a lead gen form and further campaign messaging that includes those featured on the street interviews that we alluded to with that first campaign as well. We see video as a good opportunity to really infuse that testimonial aspect, but also the potential for this one where we can do on the street interviews with employees and talking about what they're looking for, to create that urgency and need. So really quickly on next steps, then we can jump into just input, questions, comments. What we're looking to do, as John and I mentioned before, we're really still in the planning phase for this, as we're gearing up. So looking for just feedback and selection of a creative approach, an overarching really umbrella anchor that can carry us through all of our materials. And we have a number of tactile ideas. We didn't necessarily cover those, but we included those in the appendix to take a look at later on, that can support goals and focus of driving membership. Some of those tactical ideas are related specifically to one of these three angles, but they have been built to be flexible for any different creative or message approach of the three that we've developed. So as once we fine tune here what we have here and land on a direction that we're comfortable with, we'll start building out creative materials and finalizing the overall marketing plan and media plan. And then, of course, ongoing quarterly measurement across all channels based on KPIs that we've identified in the plan with the team. So I'll pause there and happy to address any questions, comments, input.
Hey, John and Ben. The only thing I would ask is that send the committee your contact information. So if anyone has any ideas and thoughts after this meeting, they could forward them directly to John or Ben. Because I know we said we put a lot on the committees in front of committee as they process it a little bit more if they have time. Again, with a deadline. So Ben, what's the absolute deadline you would need input in to be able to get into the campaign? You have a hard deadline?
Yeah, so I think we want to start really putting this into motion to solidify a direction pretty quickly, but I also want to, offer the flexibility for everyone to have enough input. Ideally, towards the end of next week, at the latest, we're kind of advancing this from where it stands today. But, John and any other thoughts there from your end?
So Ben, we're looking at August 5th, next Friday.
That would be ideal, yes.
Okay. Good enough.
Correct. James, I'll work with March on making sure that we get all our contact information out to the entire committee so they can have a direct lines too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Matthew, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think this is great. I actually really like the three messaging. I think given the economy, it may be hard to kind of pull on the patriotism arm a bit, which is number 2 in my mind. So I think it may have less of an effect simply because of where the economy is and small business. But I really like mixing and matching 1 and 3, which is, you can't solicit nor can you retain good quality candidates without good benefits. and then having some of those real world stories about how it is working with shop, as well as the benefits that you get, seems to make a lot of sense. It doesn't focus on the rates. It doesn't focus on the cost. What it focuses on is the employer and making sure they have quality employees. And that's been a challenge for a lot of small businesses right now. So
Oh,
I
man.
think using the three as that base platform of, you really need to retain your good employees. You need to solicit. You need to hire good employees, and you need good benefits. And then having those real customer testimonials tied to how maybe it reduced their no-show rate. Maybe it reduced their rate of attrition of employees, but since they started using Shop It for insurance. They've seen retention go up by 50%. They've seen they've been able to hire people much easier, something to that effect. But I do really like 1 and 3 together. Again, I think 2 is good. It's just right now it's really hard to say do your part when small business is struggling. But I think in a normal environment it would be great. But I really like tying in 1, 2, 3. One with as 3 as the base, and 1 with those testimonials. And I like having people who've already tested, have used, and seen success. And we're not talking just about financial success of the rates, but the success of using Shop to retain their employees and maintaining, good business. So I like it. I think it's very good, well thought out, and I would just kind of play 1 and 3 together, with 3 being that base, and finding some employers that, saw retention increase and compliance no-show go down, those kind of things.
Excellent.
That's great feedback. Thank you, Matt. I just wanted to offer one additional thought on that to address one of your comments. While ideally we want to land on one overall creative approach and direction, that's not to say that there are pieces of the other, ones like you said, for number 1, testimonials. That's going to be something that we want to do regardless of overall creative direction that we have. Testimonials we see as a mandatory to really kind of incorporate into communications in general. So however that takes form, whether it is through social media, through videos, etc., that's definitely going to play a role in this year's campaign.
And this
Thank
is
you.
Pam.
Thank you, Ben.
I would say similar things as Matt has said, especially around the appeal to the employer, or the pitch to the employer relative to hiring and retaining employees. I mean, this is a really tough market right now, and I've had an opportunity to have many conversations with both employers and even folks looking for jobs as whether it's a second job, because that's what people are finding that they're doing for various reasons or whatever. But benefits are really important as they look. So I think, given the state that we're in, state meaning not Connecticut, but conditions that we're living through, I think it's really important to be able to continue to reinforce that to the market. So, and the testimonials certainly help with that, whether they're from the employer or whether they're from an employee who has chosen an employer because of that differentiating factor.
Absolutely. Great feedback.
Thank you, Pam. Appreciate it.
Yep. Great job, guys. Really, we've come around the globe, I don't know, circumnavigated several times, but we're really in a great place now, I think.
Excellent.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Is it time to adjourn, John?
Yeah, if there's no additional questions, what we have is some takebacks. We're going to make sure, as you can tell with this presentation, there's an appendix section with some additional detail and information. I'll have Marcin make sure that our contact information gets out to you guys today from myself and Ben, so you can have direct contact to us if you want to have some additional conversations. We'll be more than happy to kind of set up a 30-minute meeting, and we can kind of go from there. So any feedback or any more feedback after this meeting is much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I have a motion
Need a
to
motion
adjourn?
to adjourn?
Yes. Thank you, Pam. A second?
Yep.
I second. Yep, Matt And second,
Thank you, John.
Okay. Roll call.
Frank Ritter,
Yes.
Pamela Rosick,
Yes.
Matthew Katz,
yes.
Kevin Galvin, Ellen Skinner, Shelley Sweet, Paul Philpott, and Christopher McKiernan.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good job.
everybody.
No,
Thank
Good
you.
job, guys.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.